The most magnificent garment of the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, that was worn in the Mishkan, the tabernacle, and later in the temple, was the Choshen HaMishpat, the breastplate. It had 12 special stones engraved with the names of the tribes of Israel. It was actually a rectangular flap that was then folded over to form a square. And the Torah tells us that in that flap was placed a parchment that contained the holy names of God. And this parchment was called the Urim v'Tumim. What was the function of this parchment? So the Talmud explains that when the king, for example, had a very pressing issue, a doubt, he wasn't sure, should the nation go out to war? Shouldn't they go out to war? He would go to the Kohen Gadol and he would inquire of the breastplate using this parchment that was within it, the Urim and Tumim, and miraculously, through God's assistance, the stones of the Choshen HaMishpat, of the breastplate, would light up. Letters would light up. And then somebody who was a great sage and a scholar or a prophet would have to put these letters together to provide the answer. This was a minor form of prophecy. And the Vilna Gaon tells us a fascinating story concerning a particular question that was asked of the Choshen HaMishpat, of the breastplate. This took place before there were kings in the nation of Israel. In fact, just before the prophet Samuel was born. We read in the book of Samuel that Samuel's mother, Hannah, was a woman with a broken heart. She was married to a very good man who had another wife. And that other wife, Peninnah, had many, many children. And Hannah, year after year, remained childless. So once when they went up to the tabernacle, which at that time was in the town of Shiloh, she went and she prayed and she poured out her heart to God and she said, God, give me a child, give me a child. And as she was praying, her lips were moving, but she was not speaking. It wasn't audible to anybody else. And then the Mishkan and the tabernacle was the high priest. His name was Eli HaKohen. And Eli was watching this woman and he couldn't work out, what is with this woman? Is she praying? Is she drunk? Is she mumbling? Is she stuttering? He wasn't entirely sure. So he asked this question of the breastplate. He was the Kohen Gadol after all. He was the high priest. And the following letters lit up. Shin, Chaf, Reish, Hey. And he put those 4 letters together and it spelt Shikora, which means she's a drunkard. So Eli went up to her and said, excuse me, what are you doing here in the tabernacle? You're muttering like a drunk person. Get rid of your wine, sober up, and please go out of here. And Hannah said, you are mistaken. I'm not drunk. I'm not a drunkard. I'm a woman with a broken heart. I am praying out to Hashem that He should give me a child. And you misread those letters on the breastplate because you read it as Shin Chaf Reish Hey Shikora, one who is drunk, but it should be read as Chaf Sin Reish Hey Kesara. This woman is like Sarah. This woman is a kashera, is a proper woman, is an upright woman. But you already had your prejudices. You had already made up your mind. And therefore, when those letters lit up, you interpreted the way that went with your message, but not with what the truth is. And that's why this parchment was called the Urim v'Tumim. Urim means to illuminate. Sometimes you look at something, you read a book, you read a story, it illuminates you, it wakes you up. But is it the truth? Is it what is correct? That's the next phase. That's Tumim. Tumim comes from the word perfection. You had to have both of those stages, Urim v'Tumim, the illumination, but also the truth. In the case of Eli HaKohen, his mistake was just to look at those letters and interpret them in accordance to how he wanted to interpret it. And therefore, we have to be very careful when we read the Torah. You can basically read anything you want to in the Torah. You can come up with any type of ism, any type of political movement, you'll find it in the Torah. But that's only if you're looking for what you want to find. But it's not enough that the message is illuminated. It also has to be the truth. And that is the message of the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol. That when we judge, we should do so objectively and not make decisions based upon our own biases. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.